Get down.
First, the route must be selected. By ID, it is elected. Least cost paths from route are traced. In the tree, these paths are placed. A mesh is made by folks like me, then bridges find a spanning tree. And I asked ChatGPT to write a 6-stanza poem about it, and it did a really good job. I was sort of, it was nothing like this, but it was also would have been perfect, but anyway.
Speak at a conference or whatever, I like to talk to the women and say, this is a book about amazing women like Radia Perlman, and you can be like her too.
They both want to. So at any rate, but I have 2 grown kids, and both of them got married. That's, fine. Everyone makes their own decisions. But somebody, people interview me and write things, and they never show it to me, and I never like to read it after the fact anyway. It just embarrasses me. But at any rate, someone thought it'd be cute to call me the mother of the internet. Now, nobody invented the whole internet. There's all these pieces and stuff. So I would have said, yeah, don't do that. But at any rate, so my daughter was at college, and she had friends who knew of me, knew she was my daughter, and showed her the article. So I didn't know anything about the article. She calls me up and she said, "Mommy, do you have another bastard child you never told me about?"
John, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, in my talk on names, I rant about John. It's, it's at a company, when you're trying to find somebody's email address, there's a million John Smiths, and you don't know which one it's supposed to be. I sort of wonder when people are pregnant, they have 9 months to think of a name, and they say, "Oh, we're gonna call him John." It's like, couldn't you be more creative? But yeah.
My dad's named John too. They're very non-creative.
And then I saw this group of men, and I thought I heard some of the magic words, like bridge or router, but I wasn't sure because I wasn't close enough. And somebody had a book on their lap with papers on top, so I could only see the edge, and it was the right color. So in this empty airport, I maneuvered myself to sit right next to them, at which point they stopped talking and they were kind of staring at me, and I realized, oh, that's kind of embarrassing. I guess I'm acting bizarre. And so I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was just curious, what is that book?" So he pulls it out and it's Interconnections. And I said, "Oh, I'm Radia Perlman." And so they all turned white. And when one of them sort of recovered well enough to be able to say something, he said, "We are in a panic trying to prepare a customer presentation. And right before you showed up, one of us said, 'If only the author of that book were here.'" And I said, "Oh, it's not a problem. You just wish for me and I appear. It comes with the book." So I sort of wonder how many times they tried that in the future. But I never had more fun at the airport. I helped them prepare the presentation, signed their book. It was great. Together in Vegas. And then somebody else at some future one said, "Hey, you signed it for my colleague. I want something even more outrageous." And it's like, oh, and when it first came out, I was at an interop, and so lots of people bought it and stuff. And so on the airplane, on the way home, I saw somebody reading it. And as I was walking down the aisle to get to my seat, I said, "Hey, that's my book." And he said, "No, it isn't. I have the receipt right here." And he was mad enough. There wasn't time to explain.
That's hilarious.
Built things when they were little, and I never took anything apart. And the thing is that I found an ecological niche in the industry where I'm really valuable because I am kind of different from the others. So you don't want everybody to be the dive in and just write code before you even, whatever. And you don't want anyone like me who, panics at the idea of having to reboot the router. So, an ideal team is somebody that brings different things. So if you're different somehow, if you can actually talk to humans, or if you can make something beautiful, these are skills that are really important. But at any rate, all of these stereotypes, that women are humble and shy and insecure and men are aggressive beasts, that's not true. I have been at companies where there are women who are every bit the self-promoting, bullies that any man is, and they do very well for themselves in terms of getting high titles. They never accomplish anything good technically. No one like that. And no one who's smart has to act that way, but there's lots of people that do, and people perceive them as geniuses. They're just so toxic. I wish that management would sort of recognize this sort of behavior and not reward it. But the thing is that there will be, people say, how do I cope when there's bad things that happen? And so, for instance, Trill was a wonderful thing that I had designed a while ago, and it just got killed politically, because of egos and whatever. So I would like to say, oh, well, it's just really easy. I dust myself off and I, whatever, or I go in and fight. But to be brutally honest, I cry a lot and I don't sleep and it bothers me a lot. So it happens with everybody. So as long as you realize it happens with everybody, one piece of advice is how do you feel if somebody asks you for help? Do you think, they're wasting my time, or boy, they must be stupid? No, you're incredibly flattered that they ask for your help and you love the opportunity to help. So keep that in mind, and don't be afraid to ask people for help. Why waste your time hitting yourself hitting your head against the wall when you could just ask somebody and get the answer, and they will appreciate it. So everyone is insecure. There's imposter syndrome, which, I'm an imposter here. There's no reason why I should be at Wireshark, given that I've never diagnosed anything. But, as long as you realize everybody feels that way, try to make the other people around you sort of feel more comfortable. And I don't know, those are the only,
Get down.